Okay, so it's currently 6 a.m. I've been up since 3 and working since 5. Current state of the boat. I've got all of the sides complete. I've already sanded down each one of these. I've got the front pieces on, and I've got both sides done. And as you can tell, I also have the interior piece on. I did all of that yesterday. That was all of yesterday's accomplishment. And I worked on this for 8 or 9 hours. So what's really weird is that this went extremely fast. And obviously you can say, well, if it took you 8 or 9 hours, how does that mean it went extremely fast? Because everything up to this point took multiple days, whereas this just took me 1 day to finish everything that's on the exterior of the boat. Obviously I cut these long because when the keel goes on, I'll be able to trim those back to fit perfectly. Now I know in my last video I said, oh well, I'm going to put the keel on tonight, probably start painting, and then I looked at the instructions and I was like, oh wait, that's not the next step. So currently where we're at is did that, and I'm working on this. So I still have the piece to put across here, and on the back there's an additional piece that goes there. I have all of this interior that I'm currently working on, which I am in the process of cutting right now. I've got 2 more to cut. Now if you notice, I'm using this little cutting apparatus that I bought. I bought this a while back. I've used it sparingly. On extremely thin stuff, it works pretty good. And I don't know if you can see. Get all my trash cuts off of there. Right here I've got all of my pieces that I've cut. So it makes mass producing pieces like this pretty good. I've got a little pencil mark over here. You can't really see it. Anyway, I've got a mark, and literally what I'm doing is I just hold this along this edge and I get a consistent, the same angle, and it cuts it quite nicely and quickly. This little cutter is for items like this, it's good. Anything else, it sucks. And there we go. There's our last 2 pieces. I think that's 24. This is what I think it said, times 24. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I need 2 more. Anyway, anything that's thick though, this thing does not cut straight. I don't know if it's because I've got the blade on there too tight. But the blade sits at an angle. That'll work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 5, 6. That's 18, 24. Yeah. All right. So I need to save all these pieces somewhere. Hopefully I don't lose any of this. my pieces. We'll put you right over there. So, I know at the end of my last video I said I was going to do a whole bunch of different things, but obviously the distractions are telling me to, which I don't pay attention to. But anyway, I'm going to finish this interior, put on a coat of poly. I'm not using varnish, I'm using a polyacrylic, which I've already polyed this deck here. I haven't done anything else yet. Now at some point, I don't know what I did or how I did it, but all of my little dots for the nail holes, somehow they came off. I don't know what I put on here or what happened, but this, and you can see here, this got really jacked up somehow. I think that's because I used marker on all of this and then put the poly on. But in the fact that I'm saying that, it only happened right here and right here, which makes me think something else dripped on this after I put the poly on, because it's the marker from the dots. Because nothing back here, this looks perfect. And so I did the same process throughout this whole thing, and for some reason I have an issue here and an issue here. So I don't know what caused that. If I got some water on there or something, I don't know. I tend not to keep, I have like this cup right back here, this yellow cup, it's full of water, but it's only been here since yesterday, and I needed the water to bend all these pieces here. And I did all of, like this piece here, this was a full piece, and then I cut out each window. I didn't, so that way it'd be one nice straight line, just like these. I had to undo one of these. I don't remember which side it was on. I think it was this side, because I ended up doing this, and then when I put this piece in, I had to sand this down. So I made this on my desk, I glued it all together, and then set it in there, and I had to keep sanding this. Let me get this, sorry. I tend to look at my whatever I'm talking about instead of looking at the camera to see. So I'm over here talking about this, pointing at it, and it's not even in the freaking shot. So anyway, I made this piece on my desk, sanded the bottom down, fitted in there real nice and tight, and then sanded it to the contour. And you can actually see, I don't know if you can or not, there's an actual real little tiny gap down in this corner because I made this completely flat. Sorry, my nose is running and I keep snurfing. But overall, it came out pretty good, I think. Again, I got a little tiny gap on this one as well. But anyway. So like I was saying, once I put the poly on, then after that, the next step is put the keel on. And all the back pieces. So literally I'm getting really close to turning the page. At which point, after we turn the page, that's when we're going to start painting. Now, one of the things I notice here is that they paint the entire top black for some reason, and then paint white over black. I'm not doing that. Definitely not doing that. I will paint probably white first, and tape out each section and paint them individually instead of doing one and then trying to paint over, because even right there you can see he's painting the white. That'd take so many coats of white to cover up that black, which even here you can see how much black is showing through in this section here. It looks like they coated the crap out of that. But It's interesting to see what exactly, there's parts here that are, there's nothing showing what these are. Oh wait, they're right there. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Okay, got a lot of little meticulous stuff going on in this next coming up, so this will be interesting. Hopefully I can do this, but that's coming up. Do the paint, do these little bit of detail items, start the cabin, put the back on, put the side rail on, paint the cabin area, put the 2 front anchor, I believe these are for the anchor, and then do the back piece, which I guess that's where we do this part. I'm sorry I'm sniffing. It's snowing out and my body's kind of reacting. Then once we get that done, we finish up the keel and start doing, ooh boy, some very meticulous, detailed stuff coming up. So once we get all that done, we'll put the rudder on. All of this stuff is tiny detail items that's going to be going on. And finally, this section here, the gun ports, putting the windows on. Now, this is late in the game. If you're watching this and you're going along, it's late in the game for me to tell you that I didn't do this myself. All of, where's the first part? Hang on, bear with me. Okay, so way back here at the beginning, it shows this piece. This is the sidewall right here where my finger's at. And you take out all these interior pieces, and it shows right here C2. It names these as part numbers. I didn't pay attention to this. I threw all these away. And those are your doors that you need. Do not throw those away like I did. Because what I ended up having to do, now luckily, I have a trash in my little workspace here, and I rarely empty it because I don't fill it up that often. Okay, so anyway, all those pieces, I ended up digging through my trash. I found all of them, so I have them, and I've put them in this bag so I won't lose them, and then I keep that bag over there. And I know I'm really focused on trying to get the keel on. I know I keep talking about in almost all of my videos, oh, I'm going to get the keel on. I can't wait to get the keel on. I honestly cannot wait to get the keel on because I got that clamp over there and I want to get this in the clamp. Alright. Use the straight end. And then we'll go there. We'll cut this a little bit long. And yes, I use my nippers to cut a lot of this stuff. Okay, we're still a little ways off. You know, one of the good things about me switching to my GoPro to video, it's got that stabilizer in it. So like on my iPad, like right now, okay, as I'm doing this, you can see how much wobble is in my desk because of that up there. That's my terrain stone stuff. That's how much my desk is wobbling. But because of the stabilizer in the camera, you can't even tell. Are we getting there yet? Nope. And there it is. It's almost a perfect fit. That looks good. Okay. Of course, now I'm looking at this, and I may end up doing this other part first. So this picture's kind of confusing. It looks like on the interior where these pieces meet, it looks like this type of a configuration. Sorry this is so glare. It's kind of really glary. It looks like it has a long piece like this and then a short piece next to it on the interior of these corners. That's what it looks like in one picture. And in the next picture, it looks like it's the same thing, but with a short piece on each side of it. And it looks like they just stuffed the material in the corner to fill all the gaps. Now that's on the front. And they only show the front piece. They don't show the back. So in all the photo references, they show from this angle, looking this way at this. All right. So on the back of the boat, you can see that this piece here is pretty far forward, but on the other side, that piece is pretty far back. So there's a much more of an overhang here, so there's a lot more space on this piece. And they show no reference pictures to what they did over here. So, not exactly sure how I'm going to go about this. This is why I want the keel on, because doing stuff like this and this boat's flopping all over the place, if this were in the clamp, this would be a lot easier. And I can barely see in here, so I think that's... Use my nippers again, and just a little bit over. So, I assume that people that watch this probably aren't building a boat. Nobody's who's a boat builder is watching this video, I assume, unless they're watching it to laugh as comedy. What's the word I'm looking for? So like I said yesterday, I don't know if I should be videoing me sitting here doing this. I don't know if this is something that's people find of any interest, or if just the progress reports are more interesting. So today I'm obviously showing some actual... This is how small these pieces are. I mean, this is tiny. Come on, roll in there. Should have made that a little bit taller. But again, it's way back in there. I think once the front edge of this piece goes in, you won't be able to tell it doesn't go all the way. I've got a little bit of a gap that I can see if I look right across this angle. But once this other piece goes in, I think it'll cover it up to where you won't be able to see it. Yep. Can't tell. Woohoo, perfect. Way to hide a mistake. Okay. I think we're safe to put this piece in here now. There we go. Just a little bit. Come on. Come on, work with me. There you go. I think I just figured out what it is that... Yeah, I'm almost positive. Okay, so just a minute ago I was talking about all of the pieces here. Or not the pieces. All of the dots in this section that... all this. I think what happened was I got activator on it. That can be the only thing that it's coming to my mind. That's because literally on some of these sections when I was putting on the second layer, I was using the heck out of this. And I think that's probably what I ended up doing, was getting activator on it. Anyway, so there we go. There's the back end of that. I know it's incredibly hard to get this angle, but there's that piece, and there's the piece up under there in the corner, and then the other piece, and this is as close as I can get in this corner. So for sitting here working for almost 2 hours, I got 3 pieces glued on, but I got a bunch of stuff cut. And I wanted, I tend to talk a lot more when I'm videoing, because obviously everything up to now has been me showing, okay, here's what I've gotten done, and now I'm actually working, so I'm still in the process of here's what I've gotten done, or in the mindset of doing it that way. Longer. And then I do things like that. See, my memory sucks. I forget that I just set this, like 2 seconds ago, I just put this sandpaper over there. And then I forgot that I did that, and I was looking for it right here. And I was like, what the hell happened to my sandpaper? Okay. Cut it too short. I don't know how I just did that. I didn't even sand that down very much. So, way too short on the first one, overcompensating on the second one. Okay. So, a lot's happened today. It is now 1:30. As you can see, I've got the keel almost complete. I was working on this interior section earlier today, and my camera ran out of battery, and I didn't even realize it, and I just kept plugging away, kept talking, kept as if everything was recording. So all of this I don't have, But as you can see, it's all done on the inside. Both the end pieces are done. I can't remember where I was at, but everything's good. I've got the keel almost completely done. I've got this last piece to do, which is right here. I'm gonna have to work the heck out of this piece though, because literally just by setting it in place, nothing's fitting correctly. So I'm gonna have to shape this and work it and to get it to sit in there correctly. If I can hold on to the daggum thing. I don't think it goes this, no, it doesn't go that way. It can only go this way. So I'm gonna have to whittle that down and then do some work here to get this to all look real nice and good. So that's where we're at. But today's going extremely fast with getting that inside done. Kind of pumped about that. I actually feel like the funny thing is, going through the planking and being on that for, I don't know, the last, 4 or 5 videos was just nothing but planking. So today, literally, as soon as I get this piece on, this is going into the clamp. And that's something I've obviously been talking about for quite some time. Yeah. So, is this a coarse one? I think this is a coarse one. Let's start doing some shaping here. This is going to be just a lot of monotonous sand a little bit and then work it down. Not too thrilled about the fact that I have to whittle this much, because that means once I put the rudder on, probably gonna have to do a whole lot of work on that as well. What's messed up is when I look at this looks really nice, but there's a big bulge right here. And that's what's keeping me from, obviously I can't sand any of that because there's virtually nothing there. So I'm literally having to sand away the end of this keel piece. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I have to take a little bit off of this back end, this to sit right. A little bit more. Try to flatten this out. This 400 may be too light a grit to yep, that's not doing much of anything. Just trying to get it to flatten. The first little bit of sanding I did off of this end, so I created an arc. And obviously, since this is flat, I need that to sit just like that. Yeet. That'll work, I think. I think I can make that work. A little bit of gappage in there, but not much. Right about where my index finger is, I've got a little bit of light showing through this section down here. Ooh, there it is. All right. I like that. Let's get some glue on this bad boy. The only problem with this this wood, I don't know if you can, my famous lines that I always say, I don't know if you can see that, but this is plywood. As soon as I run this bead down through here, this glue just soaks into it. Sanding that edge didn't soak in. Interesting. Okay. And make sure this is nice and straight. Ah, come on. This little sucker's squirming around on me. Let go of my finger. Actually, interesting. It's probably a lot more than I need to put on there, but, and there it is. Still got a little bit of play in it, so we'll let that sit for a second. And there it is. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. And the thing that I have been talking about in the last 4 or 5 videos is I want to get the keel on. The keel is on. Now you can see here, there's a huge discoloration from here to here. In the instructions, I didn't notice this right off the bat. So as I'm building, I'm quasi kind of, I'll look to see, okay, this is the part they're talking about, and then I'll just go on and work from there. Herein lies, here's the issue though. As I'm looking through these photos, all right, I'm kind of going top to bottom, left to right. Now, that being said, in the bottom left corner is this picture of the paintbrush, and he's putting the varnish on, and then the next picture shows the keel. So I literally started putting the varnish on, not really scrutinizing the photo, because in the photo you can see the keel is on. So me not really paying attention, I started putting the varnish on. I've already got all of this section here done. I've got a little bit of drip over here, but then I was working from here to here, and I wanted to get this all glued up before I varnish this, just for some fact that I wasn't sure if the glue would stick to the varnish or not. And of course my next thought is, since I'm using a the water-based polyacrylic here, I'm gonna have to paint this. So as soon as I got to here and then stopped and was going to here, is my paint gonna stick to this or not? I'm already into this on this side, so I'm, one way or another, I'm screwed. Possibly. That depends on whether or not paint will stick to this poly. And I haven't done a test piece or nothing. To see, there's a piece of trash. Now, I opened this earlier. I didn't close it. And yes, this is my brush that I'm using to poly this. The reason being, I've got this big brush that I could do. I don't want to use this at all for doing this, because even with this, as I'm doing some of these sections, the amount of poly that's building in these corners and along these edges, it's so much that I know for a fact if I use this, I'd have so much buildup on here that it'd take away the detail, I think. Tap away some of this. This is what I'm going to be using to paint the black and the white. Excuse me. Anyway, so I'll be using my Army Painter war paints to do the white and the black. This is drying pretty quick. Here comes the moment of, is this going to work or not? I think that'll be just fine. That covered pretty good. Interesting. And it's drying exceptionally fast. I think that'll do. And from here on out, this is my disclaimer. Anytime I say, okay, my next step is this, I don't know what I'm talking about. Because so far, in the last 3 or 4 videos, I said my next step was to put the keel on. And it just now happened. So, because even in the end of my last video, I was talking about, okay, my next step is to put the keel on and do the paint. Well, I forgot completely 100% about all of this, all of the interior here, all that. So I at least now can see that's pretty much dry. That's going to be just fine. And I can still see the wood grain in it, which is good. It's not rubbing off. I think that'll be just fine. So, all right. First off, I have been waiting so long to use this. Oh, baby, look at that. And there we go. Now I'm going to have to take this right back out here in a minute to do all the poly. But I at least want to see it in here. And there we go. It is in the clamp, finally. Finally. Look at that. Heck yeah. And I can do that, or that, or this. I am so pumped. Oh, progress. Yay. Oh, I'm so pumped about that. Man, I've been wanting to do that for quite some time. Oh, it feels good. Man, that feels good just to have that in there. Yeah, it sits in there really well. Like I said, I'm going to have to take it right back out here in a second, because I'm going to have to poly all of this stuff. Oh. Okay. So right now, before I say my next step, let's look at what the next step is on the instructions. So first off, the next step is to poly everything. And then we can flip over here to the next page and we can start painting. So literally I'm going to end this one here. I'm going to, again, I don't know if you guys like watching me sitting here working and doing stuff, or listening to me grumbling to myself or whatever. So if you're interested in just the updates, or if you're interested in watching, let me know. And if I don't hear anything, then I'll just keep doing updates from here on out. But basically, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to poly all this, I'll let it sit for an hour or so, and then I'm going to tape it out and paint everything. Not like this though, because I have no interest in painting white over black. I don't want to put that many coats of white on there. But that's probably where I'll end up tonight, is getting the, I may do another video after this one today showing basically where I'm at with the paint. Because once the paint's done, I'm going to have to let this sit overnight and let it just really sit. I may paint some of these other pieces. So there we go. It's finally got the keel on and it's in the thing. So that's going to be the end of this one, and I'll give you guys another one probably in the next day, maybe. If I get through all this painting and all that before the end of the night tonight. This is 2 o'clock. I don't know if I'm going to be able to paint all that in 7 hours, including drying time for the poly. So, although I did this just before I went to lunch. This is all already dry. This poly dries extremely. It's ultra fast drying, and yeah, it dries exceptionally quick. So I might be able to get through that stuff. I'm going to have to poly the interior of all this as well. And go from there. So maybe tomorrow night I'll put out another video showing where I'm at, if I've got all the painting done. Other than that, it'll probably be Sunday maybe. What's today? Friday? Today's Saturday. Daggone. My days are off. I'm thinking it's Friday. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna stop talking. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.